Hello everyone, and welcome to my Bold and Beautiful Today update channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Hope's portentous boundaries comment, Finn rescues Steffy. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers recap for Wednesday, December 27th, reveals that John Finnegan called to get the ETA on some test results, but he learned there'd be a detention since they were short-handed in the lab. Ridge Forrester came along hoping for positive updates, so Finn assumed he wanted good news on when Eric would be back to his old tone. Finn couldn't guarantee anything, but he assured Ridge that Eric had met all his labels and that he was on track for this phase of his recovery. That said, Finn knew the tough position Ridge was in when he'd medical power of attorney and understood that he'd worry until he saw substantial progress. Ridge ultimately decided now was the time to celebrate, so he expressed his gratefulness to Finn for saving Eric's life and gave him a clinch. At Forrester Creations, Thomas Forrester told Hope Logan that she didn't have to answer Steffy Forrester's questions and said Hope wasn't on trial. Hope assured Steffy that her passions were genuine, but Steffy wondered how deep the relationship was and whether Hope truly loved Thomas. Steffy brought up Douglas Forrester and had enterprises about how Hope threading his father along would affect him. Hope ultimately told Steffy that this was none of her business, but Steffy felt that Thomas was going to end up agonized since Hope couldn't love him the way he demanded to be loved. After Thomas asked for a moment alone with Steffy, Hope joined Ridge in the main office and complained about Steffy putting her on the spot. Ridge assumed this was about Hope's passions for Thomas, so he also asked how Hope felt about his son. Still, Ridge eventually suggested that as long as Thomas made healthy choices, he wasn't going to intrude. Hope wished Steffy would borrow the same station and talked about being happy living in the moment with Thomas. Right now, Hope was following her heart and felt that Thomas was happy, too. After Hope suggested they demanded space to figure effects out, she bothered there could be trouble if everyone kept pushing and violating boundaries. That portentous comment left Ridge looking reflective. Back with Thomas on Wednesday's B&B occasion, he asked what the hell Steffy was doing and wondered if she was laboriously trying to ruin his relationship with Hope. Steffy was concerned about Thomas' preoccupation washing back over, especially once he admitted Hope hadn't directly told him that she loved him. Nonetheless, Thomas defended his love since Steffy hadn't been around for all the intimate times he participated with Hope. Thomas also mentioned that Hope principally said she loved him for his devotion, but Steffy claimed that wasn't the same thing. As the battle escalated, Thomas raised his voice and argued that Steffy didn't have to be probative, but he refused to let her get in the middle of his relationship. Finn approached the door and eavesdropped Thomas blasting Steffy, so he slogged in and advised that Thomas was out of line. Finn didn't watch if Steffy was Thomas' family and advised him not to speak to her that way. "You hear me?" Finn snapped. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers say Thomas and Finn could develop quite a feud if this keeps up, so stay tuned. Steffy demands to know if Hope loves Thomas. Steffy Forrester wants answers and she wants them now. The Bold and the Beautiful recap for Tuesday, December 26, 2023, features a defensive Steffy wanting answers from Hope. Bold and the Beautiful recap highlights in addition Eric's health continued to be everybody's main focus. Meanwhile, Brooke supported Ridge, Steffy raved about Finn's medical moxie, and Thomas was thankful Hope was there for him to lean on. Now, let's dig deeper into the details of what went down. The Eric miracle. Eric's health remained on everybody's minds as Brooke and Ridge, Steffy and Finn and Hope and Thomas talked about the primogenitor giving them their Christmas phenomenon. A concerned and substantially angsty Ridge hoped Eric would be thankful for the choice he made. The thing he was hysterical of was what happens if Eric's not the same person when he wakes up. Ridge feels Eric will detest him. In flashbacks, Ridge allowed about Bridget and Finn taking Eric off the ventilator. In his memory, he doesn't see a friendly expression on Eric's face. Now he only has studies of the absolute worst-case script. What's further is he thinks Eric wanted to be in the place he crossed over to, but also got pulled back into a sanitarium bed. This left Brooke working hard to talk Ridge down off the overthinking ledge. In turn, he thanked Brooke for being his gemstone. He let her know he's so happy they on this trip together and he loves her. Another focus was how Finn came through for the Forrester family. Brooke mentioned it further than formerly. And, of course, Steffy was each about her man saving the day. At the sanitarium, Steffy didn't want to let a shirtless Finn go. She was so thankful to her hubby for coming through for her family. And, because of his capability and know-how, she said there was nothing differently she wanted to make love to further. Latterly, she indeed appertained to him as her little phenomenon worker. Thomas and Hope indeed talked about being thankful for Finn working lifelessly to come up with a way to save Eric. Hope's always had respect for Finn and they should be thankful he's a part of their lives. The Thomas solicitude eventually, Steffy expressed solicitude about Thomas as well as Thomas and Hope's relationship. Originally, she told Finn that Thomas tended to internalize effects, so she was glad Hope was by his side to lean on. Also, she regressed back to her original studies. She doesn't suppose Hope returns Thomas's passions despite Thomas being in love with the hope for the unborn head. On Finn's part, he understood why his woman had major enterprises because of Thomas's history. Steffy'd bear how she was upset. Hope's cavalier passions for Thomas will shoot him right back to a dark place. On one hand, she's happy he's had a shoulder to lean on through this Eric extremity. On the other hand, effects could take a turn any alternate if Hope truly doesn't return Thomas's passions. The whole verity and nothing but the truth. Latterly, at Forrester Creations, Steffy witnessed Thomas raving over the fact that Hope has been there for him through some of his darkest hours over potentially losing Eric. He told Hope he loves her and he can see how important she loves him. Although, Hope didn't say as much. Steffy walked by and first appreciated how important support Hope has been for Thomas. Also, she got down to the nitty-gritty. She wanted to know if they were simply hooking up or if this was a relationship now. Steffy told Hope not to toy with her family's passions. She wanted the verity. Does Hope love Thomas or not? Thomas and Finn's showdown, Xander's surprising discovery. The bold and the beautiful spoilers for Thursday, December 28th, reveal that John Finn Finnegan will stand his ground now that he's walked by on Thomas Forrester crying at Steffy Forrester. Finn advised Thomas that he was out of line, so he's refusing to let Thomas speak that way to Steffy. Of course, Steffy started it by pushing Thomas buttons and trying to beget issues in his relationship with Hope Logan. Steffy just spent a good knob of her day raving at Thomas, so it's not fair for her to be suitable to speak her mind without awaiting Thomas to speak his mind in return. Thomas is entitled to defend himself, so it feels like Finn is overreacting and treating Steffy with sprat gloves then. It's nice that Finn wants to cover his woman. But Steffy is impeccably able of having an argument without demanding her hubby to come deliver her. Thomas doesn't want Steffy to wreck the good thing he's got going with Hope, so he's allowed to make that clear. It looks like Thomas will principally tell Finn to butt out and argue that it's none of his business, so Finn will still be rankled up when he eventually heads back to the office. Meanwhile, Rich Forrester will seek out Steffy after his discussion with Hope and express his fears. That could lead to Rich prompting Steffy to ease up on Thomas and let him make his own choices. By pushing so hard, Rich may worry that Steffy's going to push Thomas right over the edge. Back with Finn, he'll have a new case on Friday's beyond the occasion. Adane Bradley will duplication the part of Xander Avant, so look for Xander to make a stunning connection between Finn and the Forresters. It'd be easy for Xander to spot a picture of Finn and Steffy together or commodity along those lines. One way or another, Xander will be taken suddenly when he realizes Finn married into the Forrester family. Xander will explain that he used to work at Forrester Creations, so this should ultimately spark a discussion about Thomas and what a imminence he was when he was concealing Beth Spencer's survival. Still, Thursday's thriller may get the ball rolling with Xander's consummation about Finn's Forrester link and set the stage for the Thomas trouble that's brewing. The bold and the beautiful spoilers say Finn's enterprises about Thomas are only going to grow stronger, so stay tuned for updates on all the intimidating news and raising hostility.